Hey Daily Dose, my name is Nixon. I work with the junior hires at our Vista campus, and maybe you can relate to this type of situation. I vividly remember growing up, it would be Sunday mornings, I'd be asleep in my room, just my dark sanctuary, just sound asleep, and then my parents would enter the room, either my mom or my dad, and they would do the worst thing imaginable to me as a kid. They would go for the shades, and they would open them up, and my room would just be flooded with it felt like the most sunlight ever. And to make matters worse, they would sing this song. Maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you've heard it before. I'm not going to sing it for you, but it'd go, "Rise and shine and give God the glory." And I remember as a kid, this was just the worst moment ever, every single Sunday. And I remember going, I don't want to give anybody the glory right now. I want to go back to sleep. But I remember just what that taught me was that light, to a certain extent, is impossible to ignore. I would put my pillow over my face, I would moan, I would groan, I'd want to go back to sleep. But as human beings, we know that a certain amount of sunlight, a certain amount of just light in our presence is impossible to ignore for both good and bad. It can be amazing of like a nice relaxing campfire, Christmas lights at Christmas time, you want to go watch, you want to be in their presence. But at the same time, too much light, it can also cause damage. It can also be a bad thing. You spend too much time in the sun, you're exposed to sunlight, that's a bad thing. If you've ever had a flashlight shined in your face before, that can be a bad thing. But at the same time, whether good or bad, it's impossible to ignore. And in the same time, in Matthew chapter 5, what Jesus does is he uses light to give his disciples an example of this is the way that the world should see Christ followers. Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16 says it this way. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to the whole house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. This is a passage that if you've gone to church for a while, you've heard it, you're aware of it. It can become routine. It can become normal. You're like, I heard this passage when I was a kid. But here's the important part, for myself included. Just because you've heard it a bunch of times does not mean its power and importance is any less. This is a passage that I need to be reminded of all the time because I've been a Christian a while. I know that I have light. I know that I'm supposed to spread it, but I forget to do that on a daily basis. And so here's the question that you have to ask yourself today. How are you using your light today? How are you going to use it this weekend with Serve Your City coming up? How are you going to use it every day beyond? If you call yourself a Christ follower, you have a job to do. Spread that light. Make a difference. Make the world around you aware. How do you do that? It says it very simply, through good works, through how you live. It doesn't have to be through preaching the gospel. It doesn't have to be going out of your way to correct people, to judge people, to tell them what they're doing wrong in life, how they could be better Christians. In some ways, that might be a bad way of sharing your light if people aren't ready for it. Instead, it makes it very clear, just go out and live a life that reflects Jesus through your words, through your actions, through the way you love people, the way you serve people. The crazy thing with light is that, like I said, it's impossible to ignore. And if you've ever had somebody do something nice for you, it was probably pretty impossible to ignore. It probably made you want to respond in a specific way. It probably made you want to go, I want to know more about that person. I want to know why they served me. I want to know why they went out of their way to love me. And so for us, it's simply a question to ask of, how can I use my light better? How can I speak better? How can I treat people better? How can I serve people better? What are the areas right now in my own life that I'm missing out on? As I prepared this dose, I had to think about it, of going, there's ways that I could love my family better. I could love my friends better. I could just be nicer to people in general, serve people better. That's us using our light, because when you begin to use your light, people ask why, and they want to respond in similar ways because you're making a difference, and it begins to spread, and it begins to impact other people, and all of a sudden the kingdom of heaven is growing through simple ways of simply loving, serving, caring, areas that maybe you missed before. But when you challenge yourself of how am I going to use my light today, all of a sudden it makes a huge impact. So I want to challenge you with that. How can you use your light better today, this weekend, and beyond? Hope that brought you encouragement. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for this Daily Dose. We would love to be able to hear other topics you would like us to cover. Put them in the comments below. And remember, like and subscribe.